As we focus on contraception rights this afternoon, listen to some of the comments made by my Republican male colleagues. They're not going to change the law on contraception. There is zero threat of contraception being taken away. Pure hysteria. I have no reason to believe these precedents are going to fail. These are some of the statements made by my Republican colleagues, all of them male, by the way, have made regarding contraception. Pure hysteria, they say. This is not pure hysteria to the millions of women across the country who woke up one morning in June and no longer had a constitutional right. When it comes to this far-right, agenda-driven Supreme Court, nothing is off the table, and nothing is pure hysteria. Last month, the far-right majority on the Supreme Court overturned nearly 50 years of precedent and took away the constitutional right to get an abortion. This decision was the result of a decades-long effort by far-right Republicans and right-wing groups to pack the courts with politicians in robes. And they're just getting started. For this MAGA majority, controlling women's bodies doesn't stop at forcing women to give birth. They actually want to ban contraception. We know this because in his concurring opinion to overturn Roe, Justice Thomas wrote that the Supreme Court should reconsider the rulings that protect same-sex relationships, marriage equality, and yes, contraception. This kind of signaling by a justice of the Supreme Court should be taken seriously. So my Republican colleagues saying they have no reason to believe precedent will be overturned is resorting to magical thinking that no one should believe. After all, the Supreme Court just overturned a nearly 50-year precedent that women in this country relied on for nearly half a century. Half a century, that's 2 generations. In fact, radical MAGA Republicans in state legislatures across the country are gearing up. In Ohio, House Republicans introduced a bill that would effectively ban all abortions from the moment of conception and potentially other forms of birth control like IUDs. Other Republicans have refused to rule out banning certain forms of contraception. We are living in a post-Roe world where our rights are on the chopping block. So, no, this is not pure hysteria. The American public knows this. Democrats know this. So I say to my Republican colleagues, if any of you object to this bill, come down to the Senate floor and tell the American people the truth. Just be honest if you do not support guaranteeing the right to contraception. Because in this post-Roe world, any suggestion that this court won't overturn precedent is no longer something to hide behind. But if my Republican colleagues do support the right to contraception, then they should have no problem with supporting our bill, which would create a statutory right for individuals to access contraception, protect the right to healthcare providers to provide contraceptives to their patients, and empower individuals by extending a private right of action against any state or government official that hinders these rights. Today, my Republican colleagues have a choice. Do they support the right to contraception and an individual's right to make decisions about our bodies and our health care? Or will they allow the government to tell millions and millions of women what to do? Madam President, I yield the floor.